The story begins with us being told about the latest full immersion technology. Also, after a while, a game is created that is not unlike reality. It was just as realistic. But people didn't like it. Why would they want a second life? Twice as much care. In the games they just wanted to rest and relax, nothing more. Then we are introduced to the main character named Yuki Hiroshi. The protagonist was closed-minded by nature, he didn't know what to do in life, so he spent all his time playing games. We find out that Yuki used to be a track and field athlete and he achieved a lot. In the street some thugs catch our protagonist and steal all the things and money he was struggling to collect. But Yuki is not too upset about it. He came to terms with what had happened. Today is the day when he can finally escape from reality and escape into the game world. But when he arrives at the shop, he realizes he doesn't have enough money for the game. Upset, he went home. On his way he saw a game shop and went in. There was a beautiful girl sitting there. She sold our protagonist a game that was released 10 years ago. The main character couldn't even return the game because goods are non-returnable. In the end, our protagonist just went home because he has to test the new game. Yuki starts the game and enters a whole new world. He realizes that everything in this world feels special, everything is very realistic. He immediately meets his childhood friend. He is also joined by Yuki's best friend. Out of habit, Yuki immediately wants to go on an adventure, to explore a new world. But Yuki is told that he cannot leave the town because goblins will kill him right away. But Yuki doesn't listen and then his friend starts a fight with him to show how weak he is. But our hero really turns out to be very weak, because all of his characteristics, including his strength, are transferred from the real world. After getting hit in the head a few times, our hero realizes how much it hurts, even in the game, so he gets angry. He attacks his friend while he was eating an apple. And as silly as it sounds, he accidentally destroys his best friend. And Yuki's friend freaks out when he sees this as it was his brother. Yuki has found nothing better to do than to run away. Fortunately, he can run fast. On reaching the town, Yuki runs into the very salesgirl who sold him the game. In the game she is Yuki's assistant and no one sees her except Yuki. The main character has a chain around his neck where his details in the game are displayed. Immediately on the chain comes the inscription, "Got rid of your best friend." The assistant advises Yuki to buy some clothes and lay low. Yuki does so but meets the very same friend who seems to love Yuki but wants to destroy him so the three of them can be reunited in the sky. Yuki runs away again. Yuki already wants out, but realizes that she can't do that in the fight phase. And yes, immediately Yuki is attacked by her ex-girlfriend. Her name is Alicia, by the way. But the sidekick saves the protagonist. Eventually Yuki exits the game and returns the next day. But his wounds from the battle still hurt, so he wants to use healing herbs. Suddenly he meets a fat man who helps him with the treatment. During the conversation Yuki learns that the fat man also plays the game and that in the beginning he too, not only destroyed his best friend but his childhood friend too, because he was very strong before. This man talks about the only person who made it through this game, but after that he turns in the protagonist to the authorities for a reward. The men pelt Yuki with stones and rotten vegetables, then put him in prison. The protagonist realizes that you can't get out of the game while you're in prison. On top of that, he is haunted by the ghost of his friend, who is very angry. But suddenly some girl in red saves our hero and offers to go to another room where she starts torturing him to confess his crimes. She wanted to cut off his leg, but at that moment the protagonist pissed his pants in fear, which stopped the girl in an unexpected way. She let him go, after which Yuki immediately quit. The protagonist went to the shop to return the game, but was immediately refused. They started to fight. The saleswoman showed the protagonist a guide on how to play the game. On it, a guy who has passed the game gives useful advice. The saleswoman hugged Yuki and said she might even marry someone who passed the game. Yuki returns to the game where the assistant tells him he should make some money. Yuki immediately goes to a man he knows to tell him he owes him money because he turned him in to the police. A bar brawl ensues where Yuki defeats the man and takes his money. The main character goes to a shop to buy a sword and smoke bombs. There he is tricked and sent home, where the sword has been lying originally since the beginning of the game. At home he is met by Alicia. Yuki immediately throws smoke bombs at her but forgets to set them on fire. A red-haired girl comes to Yuki's rescue and starts to fight Alicia. Alicia wins and attacks Yuki again. Yuki recalls the words from that walkthrough guide and says she loves Alicia. The girl doesn't know what to do and runs away. Yuki sees that the town is attacked by goblins. In this game goblins are very strong. Yuki finds out that if you die in the game console will break. He wanted to leave the game right away while there is time, but he saw a girl in the middle of the road. She was in danger. Yuki picks up the girl and starts to run away. But the goblins notice her and run after the girl anyway. At this point Yuki awakens some sort of super ability. He starts to run very fast and saves the girl. At this point a guy named Tesla comes into town. He kills all the goblins in one fell swoop. He thanks Yuki for his help and invites him to the training ground. Yuki immediately agrees, but then exits the game and watches the walkthrough guide, where he realizes he made a mistake, that whoever gets into the training ground survives with a mere 0.01% chance. Well, there's no way out, we have to play. Yuki arrives at the firing range and meets the two guys. On the first day, the protagonist has to fight his teacher. Yuki loses and starts complaining that his teacher is too strong for him. Later, he starts to be bullied. The assistant decides to help the protagonist. She cunningly sets up the bully, after which he is kicked out of the training ground. The assistant also sets up the teacher. He is also kicked out in disgrace. Yuki is grateful to the assistant, even though she used dirty methods. Yuki sees that the new arrivals are Alicia and the girl in red. Yuki is immediately frightened by them. The boys find out that the bandits have conspired and decided to rob the town before the goblins attack, while everyone is busy getting ready. The boys want to find out who is behind it and they unravel the mystery. A man we know was behind it. He is turned in to the authorities and imprisoned. And now it's time for the goblin attack. Tesla and his guards begin the battle against the goblins. The girls also join in the battle. Then the king of the goblins comes out. They begin to fight Tesla. At this point Tesla says to take out the main weapon. Just then we see the small goblin cages roll out. Yuki begins to understand everything. Tesla discovers he's been exposed and with a single blow knocks the Goblin King to the ground. It turns out the goblins are very peaceful and friendly creatures. The Queen and King have stolen their children from them, thereby creating an artificial war. That was why they said it was dangerous outside the city. It was also a plus that this town was not attacked by others. The Queen and the King did not need witnesses. The King started to get rid of witnesses. The turn came to Yuki as well, but he, at the cost of his life, is saved by Alicia. She forgave him long ago and has loved him for a very long time. The main character fights for a long time, but suddenly his sword breaks. The ghost of his best friend comes to help and he gets the cursed sword. We see the final blow where the screen goes dark. We realize that Yuki has lost. His console is broken. He watches the guide and realizes there is a way to hack the game and start over an hour before he is defeated. Now he realizes he has to prepare himself. Yuki starts jogging in the morning, setting up his studies. This concludes the first season of this anime.